Hello, I'm the host of this year's British Academy Craft Awards, coming to you from one of London's smartest hotels. This is where we honor the little people of film and television, people like Dave here. Mark. And Mark's little job is to make sure this furball thing stays out of my shot, which he can do about 7 out of 10 times. Can't you, Mark?
Yes.
Okay, so I think it's really great that we're honoring these little people and giving them a special night. But who makes that event possible? Who makes it their special night? I'm now going to introduce you to even the littler people behind the little people.
All right, it's time. Come on, let's go. Let's go. All right.
If you think there's a lot of pressure making a film, you should be with Dave here when he's feeding 1,000 mouths with souffle. The heartbreak, the viciousness. Dave, come over here. Tell us, how hard is feeding the troops? What's your most difficult challenge with the souffle?
Getting them up, all at the right time.
Dave, you're wasted in these kitchens.
Thank you, darling.
Now just tell me today, we're making a lobster souffle.
It's a hot lobster souffle.
Now,
Yeah.
Is it difficult to get the lobsters into the egg stuff? Because you would think they know something's up.
Well, you know, we have a quiet word in their ear, and then we humanely kill them and put them in boiling water.
Dave just bores them to death. I mean, this baby's going to die to go down Joanna Lumley's throat. It's a little bit of a disgusting thought. I'm here with Dougie, whose official title is what?
I'm a doorman.
Door person. So now take me through the job, Dougie. All right, let's say that, just say that I'm Elizabeth Taylor, and I'm sitting in my limo. So what's the first thing you do, Dougie?
First of all, we open the door for you, madam.
Open the door.
Take you by the hand.
Take me by the hand, and then you
What's...
lead me out of the car, making
Oh,
sure
so you get
not
a nice
to look
flight?
between my legs in case I
Certainly not,
spread
madam.
them. No, you don't. And then we walk, and you say to me,
Welcome to Hilton Park Lane.
Miss Taylor, and I say, good to be back, Dougie. Now get my bags. And whether you're a winner or a loser at Bafta, they all end up in here, the loo. And this little lady is Maria. Maria hands out the towelettes to the famous for reasons of hygiene when they finish going to the loo. I just wanted to ask you a question before I go on. The amount of money you leave, because didn't you always want to know, is it dependent on how much you leave in the toilet? I mean, let's say if there's a lot, then you leave a pound. But, you know, sometimes you can't go at all. You just, like that. There's, you know, for me, it's been war in there. You don't leave anything. Never mind. Wait, I think a celebrity's coming out. Do you think it's Emma Thompson? No! Oh my God, look who it is! It's Babe! It's Babe! May I just say, excuse me for, I'm not, oh yes! She's thinner in real life. May I just say to you, excuse me, sorry, I don't want to disturb you. I'm not one of those fanatical fans, but I have a film script. Excuse me, I don't want to frighten you. I have a film script. I think you might be interested. Can we have lunch, please? I just so admire your work.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the British Academy Craft Awards and your host, Miss Ruby Wags.
Welcome to the British Academy Craft Awards, held in association with Lloyds Bank. I would just like to announce tonight that I am the first woman to host the Bafta Awards. First we get the vote, now they're spoiling us. Yes, thank you very much. I'm sure there was a reason though, because, I don't know, maybe in the past they thought it scared them. You know, if a woman was hosting the show, her hormones might bubble up in the middle of the whole thing. She'd run off and do some dishes. It might happen. But just so you wouldn't be too frightened, I brought some testosterone up here to assist me tonight. I want a cold turkey. This is the lovely Peter, and Peter's job is to suck in his stomach and smile at the same time. It's very difficult. And also the lovely Kevin here, who is a budding starlet. Come on, I went through 50 of these. It wasn't easy. Thank you. And where are you from, Peter?
I come from Sweden.
Sweden. Isn't that fantastic? What a talent. And the deal is I can take them home afterwards for domestic use. I'll just run through the rules for the nominees just to clear this up. Okay, what happens is I call you up, you look at me lovingly, or like you know me, accept the award, and if I spot any tears of self-love, I give you the secret signal, and you're pretty much cut from the show. So what I want you to do is I want you to take the award, announce which famous person you worked with, who they slept with, and if they're a bitch, then get off. Okay? Have we got that? Before we get on with the awards, we're going to take a look at some of the best work in makeup, costume, and set design seen in film and television over the last year. And if you think that's not an important job, I have some photos of Joanna Lumley first thing in the morning that could make your teeth curl. Peter Neck, I'm getting tense. Okay, roll the film.
The powerhouse. Ideas, experiment, imagination.
First award tonight is Best Film Makeup, though why somebody didn't tell Mel Gibson his eyeshadow was streaked across his face, I have no idea. Here to present the award, a man who holds the whole government in his mouth, Mr. Greasepaint himself, Rory Bremner.
Thank you. It's nice to be back here. Last time I was here was for the Mobile Phone Salesman of the Year Awards. It's the only time you ever get 600 men in a room arguing about who's got the smallest one. And the winner is Lisa Westcott for The Madness of King George.
All right, then, let's be having it. Elbow people, knee gentlemen, bending persons, hand kissers. Ah. Fine cluster there, eh? Come on, look, come on. You might learn something. Good ass, too. And warm, eh? I'll bet.
We now move on to the category of Best Television Makeup and Hair, which is why I'm here, because I want to find the person who turned me into Paddy Ashdown and then left. And the winner is Dorka Niragic for Cold Comfort Farm.
Come on, Seth. Hollywood's waiting.
Oh, Seth.
Bye, Mother.
Oh, Seth!
Our next award is for film costume design. Here to present the award is Sarah Lancashire, who through the magic of television right at this very moment is on another channel in that new sitcom, Coronation Street. Don't switch off, she's much funnier on this one. Here she is, Sarah Lancashire.
And the winner is Charles Node for Braveheart.
Fight and you may die. Run, and you'll live. At least a while. And dying in your beds many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom?
Next is Best Film Design, and here to present it is someone who really makes me laugh, and that is very rare. And I'm not angry when he wins one Bafta after another. A man who bloomed late in life. He trolled the pavements of Hollywood for a good 45 years, and now he's the pinup of male menopause, Richard Wilson.
Good evening, Ruby.
Good evening.
Has anyone told you how wonderful you're looking tonight?
Only you, and only you that matters.
They will before the evening's out, I'm sure. And the winner is Michael Cornblith for Apollo 13.
I'm Jim Lovell, and we're broadcasting to you tonight from an altitude of almost 200,000 miles away from the face of the Earth, and we have a pretty good show in store for you tonight. So, hit it there, Fredo. Hello, world.
When I go up there on 19, I'm going to take my entire collection of Johnny Cash along.
In the category for Best Television Design, the winners are William Dudley and Brian Sykes for Persuasion.
Captain Wentworth and Captain Harvey.
Captain Wentworth, come in. Come in. What would you play, whist?
I have come on business, Sir Walter.
Business?
My proposal of marriage to your daughter, Anne, has been accepted, and I respectfully request permission to fix a date.
Anne? You want to marry Anne? Whatever for?
Our next award is for originality in television. That means you've come up with something no one else has ever come up with in television. Like The Girly Show, but better. A lot. To present this award is the Oscar-winning animator Bob Godfrey, who swears he created, without the aid of drugs, a green dog called Rhubarb and a purple grinning cat called Custard. Bob Godfrey.
This award is for originality, and this man is a true original who has done more for plasticine and the British television industry than anybody I know. You probably know now who I mean. So let's have a look at some of his work.
Nick Park, America's Most Wanted. Have you seen this man? Wanted by Steven Spielberg, the Disney Corporation, and every major studio in Hollywood. Known accomplices, Wallace and Gromit the dog.
I think Nick should continue doing what he's doing. I think, frankly, he's so good, Hollywood should come to him.
I think it's marvelous, for instance, that Spielberg
is interested in him, I think it's very gratifying and rewarding. But my advice would be stay where you are, whether it's a feature film or whatever you're doing.
There's just something I like about Britain.
Spielberg that's interested in taking Nick to Hollywood. I know that everybody's talking to him because Nick does something that very few people in the world can do, and that is, in a very short amount of time, make memorable characters.
He's just extremely funny. I mean, that sounds very obvious. You think all animated cartoons are full of jokes, but Nick just has a great knack for telling the jokes well. My favourite of all, I think, is in The Grand Day Out, when the rocket's taken off and the fuse is burnt down and the whole place is shaken, but the rocket hasn't moved, and Gromit suddenly thinks, ah, and releases the handbrake, and then they take off.
I had the privilege of working with two near geniuses, or geniuses. One was Orson Welles and the other is Nick Park. And Creature Comforts, in my opinion, is the animated cartoons world Citizen Kane.
Yeah, well, it's reasonably comfortable, I suppose, this place, but, I mean, I've been in more comfortable rooms, yes.
Creature Comforts was one of my favorite films. I thought that was very original, the way it was approached. And I hadn't seen claymation done in that way before, that had so much humor to it.
Well, sometimes you can't get out and about as much as you would like to. You're stuck in for some reason, like I'm stuck in today. And then, yes, you get bored and you get fed up with looking at the same four walls.
People often say to me, you know, animation must be really tedious. You must need a lot of patience to do it.
What you do is, first of all, you move his hand just a tiny amount.
Right.
And then you'd move one finger, again, a tiny amount.
Right.
Second finger, just a tiny amount.
You don't really tend to think about the, you know, the technicality of, you know, of actually, you know, the tedium of filming it.
Third toe down, just a tiny amount. Then we move up to the hand again. Move out. A tiny amount. And this finger, just a tiny amount.
If you're animating something very detailed, like Wallace's face, and you're having to animate the mouth opening and closing a lot, and all the detail, the eyebrows and everything, you know, more full acting, then you get through something like 3 seconds. 3 seconds would be a good day.
Just a tiny amount. That finger. Then we come up again to the eyes to bring them round some more. Tiny amount. This finger. A tiny amount. This finger.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, it is. it is frustrating, I admit it. Orson Gromit has fulfilled something for me in that kind of storytelling, you know, that comedy, thriller, adventure film. I think it would be very hard to know where to take it, so I've decided to end it there.
I hear there's going to be no more Wallace and Gromit. That was the worst news I got this year. Forget the royal marriage. Wallace and Gromit are splitting up. I couldn't bear it.
I think to receive an award for originality is a greater honour than any of the awards really that have been for animation, because it's being recognised for something outside of animation in terms of it's for programme making and film making, which it's always been what I've been hoping to achieve.
What do you say, Gromit?
It's an honour to present the Bafta Award for Originality in Television to Nick Park and Aardman Animation.
I'm really chuffed with this award, and I hope all at Aardman Animations and all those who've generously contributed to the work we've done together can feel very proud of this, as long as you keep your greasy fingerprints off it. But thanks very much. Thank you.
find cameras are so very, very important in this industry? Very. I mean, without them, it would have been virtually impossible to have seen Sense and Sensibility. Although I'm sure old Emma would have still found a way. What do you think, Peter? Why do you think cameras are so very important? No, that's too complicated, obviously. So now we're going to look back at some of the best camera work in film and television over the last year. Watch and learn. Next is the award for Best Cinematography. Here to present the award, we know and love her from Cagney and Lacey, the only women on television to pack a pistol and HRT patches. Though I personally loved her in her non-speaking role as stewardess in Airport 75, Sharon Gless.
Thank you, Ruby. And the winner is.
Pride woman, take those glasses off.
Yes, it happens.
Oh, God.
The winner is John Toll for Braveheart.
Here to present Best Television Photography in a factual program is someone only, I think, a guy could understand. A man with his hand firmly on his own gear stick. I mean, what does it mean when he says, lube up your cylinder heads? You see, these things scare me. That hunk of a manhood on wheels, Jeremy Clarkson.
To be here. Was Noel Edmonds on a minute ago or something? Flies are down. Good, well, that'll give me an excuse to bend down. Right, the winner is, good job I learnt it, Jacek Petritsky for The Betrayed.
Это вот его последняя фотография была от сына. И потом телеграмма вот эта пришла, что передайте матери Шелудковой Тюмень, Коля погиб 22-го бомбежкой. И телеграмма получила 29 числа. Не знаю, вот мне сейчас надо в шале или как-то поисковый отряд, чтобы эту могилу найти, раскопать, мой сын там или не, мой не там.
Now to present the award for Best Television Photography in the fictional department is Nigel Havers. Svelte, suave, and smarmy. And those are only some of the S words that describe him, but not all. I remember, darling Nigel, when we performed together in Chariots of Fire. I was cut, he wasn't. I haven't spoken to him since. Nigel Havers! You have an age. Well, not too close, I will crack.
It was in Chariots of Fire, I do remember. Just the one shot.
But it was a great shot.
Just one small close-up, that's all. And the winner is John Daly for Persuasion.
Louisa, be careful. There. It's too high, Louisa. Louisa, it's too high. Louisa, that is too high.
I am determined, Captain.
Louisa, do not be so foolish!
Louisa!
And now for the Alan Clark Award for Outstanding Creative Contribution to Television. Here to hand out the award is Kate Beckinsale, who is 22, young, frisky. And when she was making Much Ado About Nothing, had to share a villa with Keanu Reeves. Are you feeling my anger? She will also be playing Emma Thompson in the new Jane Austen adaptation, Emma. But the good news is, she's gonna get old. No, I'm kidding. I couldn't be happier for her. Kate Beckinsale, here she is.
The Alan Clark Award for Outstanding Creative Contribution to Television this year goes to a man whose insight, talent, and creative commitment have made sure that for the last 33 years, his name has always been associated with the best in British screen drama. He is that rare and precious combination of an actor's director and a technician's dream. His ability to bring a clarity of vision, a depth of understanding that few have had the courage to champion, and a loyalty to the process of creation make him one of the country's most valuable directors. Let's have a look at some of his work.
He brought his own style to the programme and seamlessly interwove the two. He does have a lot of signatures. You can tell where Roy's been. He leaves his fingerprints. There are very few directors who give you the feeling that, in television at least, where they are is where they want to be. And it is immensely refreshing to be working with someone who doesn't see the job they're doing now as a stepping stone to something else. What they're doing now is what they want to do.
Inspector Hayes!
The great director is like a great novelist. You've got no notion of their own personality in the work. And what their real talent is to bring up everyone else's talent and the lives of all the people he's invented or he's filming. He doesn't do anything that's show-offy. He's got a very minimal style. I always remember that great shot where Beck goes over the top and all you see is that shoe landing and no noise. It's absolutely inspired, I thought.
I've always thought that, since working with Roy, that he's probably one of the finest film directors
that we have in the country at the moment, and yet we don't have a film industry to service someone with such a large talent.
Do you realise how many blue vans there are in the Denton area alone?
It doesn't matter how many there are. We have a computer. It can churn out the information in seconds.
Yes, sir, we have, and it's already done that. But what it can't do, it can't go round knocking on doors, asking bloody stupid questions. That comes down to PC plod, and that takes time, and that comes out of your budget, sir. Now, if there's nothing else, my sausage sandwich is congealing. No? Good. Thank you.
Roy's not really interested in doing sort of fluffy love stories about people who meet in the train. You know, he's not interested in that sort of stuff. He's much more interested in political stuff and cinema verite and so on. And we don't make as much of that as we used to because people don't watch that stuff anymore. They'd rather watch celebrity underpants, unfortunately.
Do you want him punished? He's guilty, so you must want him punished. Let her go.
Just piss off, Jimmy!
Just want to hear whether or not you want him punished.
Hey, calm down.
Look, are you gonna stay out of this and all, right?
What is wrong with you?
He's guilty, right? And I'll do it. I'll do it. I just want to hear you say yes or bloody no.
Aye, aye.
Look, I just wanted to answer the question.
Why, who do you think you are? Jeremy bloody Paxman?
I think that he wouldn't last in Hollywood. I don't think he'd last 5 minutes. He's too honest. I mean, he speaks his mind, and they don't like that, I don't think, over there.
I was having some sort of row with the office, you know, and I'd be on the phone trying to sort something out. He'd be on your side. He may not know what the argument was about, but you were having a row with the producer, and that's fine by him. He's with you.
I've been to his house in Italy, you see, so I've seen him gazing out over the olive groves. I don't see him in Hollywood for long, anyway. But, I mean, I wouldn't like to snooker his chances by saying he doesn't want to go to Hollywood. He might be champing at the bit.
That Coltrane, what's he talking about? Dozy old dollop.
Listen to me. If you wait till they come in, you're finished. We'll talk to them. We'll walk out in front of you, all right? They won't shoot us.
Oh, yes, they will. They're playing Belfast for us now.
They're going to take prisoners down here. They're going to come out the same way as Fisher. You won't get out except under our cover.
We won't get out. Let's show a bit of fighting spirit for the boys back home. Let's set an example.
I learnt that talents like his are very rare, that they should be cherished, that he should be working all the hours God sends, and that he should ask me back as soon as possible. Please? Thank you.
Being consistently good for 20 years is a damn good contribution to anything, I would say.
Sometimes you see great actors and you say, what makes them a star? What makes them? It's just the it. And I think he's got it.
I've known him for 13 years, during which time I have mocked him mercilessly, sought his advice on everything from boyfriends to physics homework to acting, and found him to be as sound in his counsel at home as on the set. He's a terrific stepfather, a gifted director, and an extraordinary man. The Alan Clark Award goes to Roy Battersby.
Obviously, I thank the Council of Bafta with all my heart for this really lovely award. And we have to remember what Hitchcock said, why is the screen unique? And he said the screen is unique because it's the only medium in which you can show a human face 25 feet by 15 feet saying yes and meaning no. And I think that kind of contradiction, difference, diversity, that's what we have to encourage in television. I have to say, finally, with Sean Connery at the Golden Globes this year, I'll do everything in my power to honour this wonderful award, except retire. Thank you very much indeed.
And now we look back at this year's special effects in film. Yes, they can take us up to the moon. They can make a pig speak, but damn it, they still can't cover Kevin Costner's bald patch. So here they are.
Drunk and crashed his car. He is such a superstar. He's a supercharged lover. Sold his mother. For rock and roll and fame. Again and again and again and again and again. Bobby Boy wears leather trousers. Looks so sexy they arouse. Travel near and travel far. He is such a superstar. He's a superhuman lover. Loves himself and loves the other. Just rock and roll and fame. Again and again and again and again and again. Woo!
My mom. I don't want to give this woman any more publicity. I think she's had enough. Among gay men, she's a god. I think we all know who I'm talking about. Everyone thinks she's so very English and intelligent and tall. This is all a special effect, which is the award she's going to hand out. Please all curtsy for, like Prince, we dare not speak her name, the actress formerly known as Joanna Lumley.
Waarvoor order met den stompen?
Hon betalar bra timpeng.
Okay, Joanna, move away now, move away. Come on, he's on my budget. Over to here. Over to here now, just speak.
Thank you. Squeak, 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 you know. She's so titchy, sometimes you can hardly see her. And the winners are Robert Legato, Michael Canfer, Matt Sweeney, Leslie Ecker for Apollo 13.
Sorry,
I don't think so.
No, okay. So now she's given them away instead of getting them. How the mighty have slipped.
Now to an award which is being given to an outstanding program which doesn't rely on special effects, but nevertheless it involves danger, consummate skill, and is equally spectacular. A program filled with sex, violence, cannibalism, and bestiality, but one even Mary Whitehouse would encourage her children to watch. Produced by a dedicated camera team who've devoted their every waking hour to capturing breathtaking moments from the world of nature, Survival is one of the world's longest-running and most successful wildlife programs. Now, it's difficult to sum up the contribution Survival has made to our greater understanding of the animal kingdom, when so many of its programs take years, not days, to make. So in order to appreciate fully the obsession and commitment of these men and women who often risk their lives in their pursuit of the perfect shot, let's take a look at the extraordinary footage they've consistently achieved over the last 30 years.
think the greatest compliment that you could pay to the survival team is that they showed you something that you never knew before, you had never seen before, in such a way that not only did you understand it, but you were amazed by it, and in a way will never forget it.
Well, I think any wildlife cameraman has to have a dedication which really approaches monomania. Nobody else would do it. Nobody would go and sit on an iceberg or some dreadful isolated place for a year if they weren't some sort of nut. They really wouldn't.
I think you have to be totally obsessed. I know I am, and I know that others in our other members of our teams are as well. I don't think you could do it if you weren't obsessed. It would be impossible. I was filming chimpanzees on Tiwai Island in West Africa, and I'd waited for 13 months to get these chimpanzees, wild chimpanzees, not habituated, coming in to the base of a tree where they would crack nuts open with stones. And then just one bright day, there's a grunt. I looked through the lens and there were 12 wild chimpanzees right around the base of this tree, just as she picked up this stone to crack the first nut. The first roll of film ran out.
A camera in Alan Root's hands can go anywhere and do anything. The skill of it is that he doesn't thrust it in your face. He made a film about termites, for example, which is full of those kind of moments, and yet you don't even notice because you have been transported into the termites' world.
I learned a tremendous amount in my early days from watching films from the likes of Alan Root and Dieter Plage. And one can attempt to use those techniques, but I believe there's something far deeper that comes out in the images that you bring home.
Oh, I've got a favourite film. Absolutely, I cry every time I see it, with joy. It's Des Bartlett's Snow Goose. Has big music, a big theme, and the most beautiful filming.
There have been a great number of very high peaks in the survival series, which have made all of us around the world saying we're going to have to pull our socks up. I mean, we're going to have to be very good to match that.
I suppose the greatest compliment is the programme has survived on ITV, I think I'm correct in saying, longer than any other show, save Coronation Street. That can't be bad.
To present the award for Best Editing in Film, which means they can cut out the bits where we screw up. Come on, that leftover junk revived Terry Wogan's career. The star of medical series Chicago Hope and numerous films which include Dick Tracy, Princess Bride, and Yentl, he wasn't the Barbra Streisand role. Here he is, Mandy Patinkin.
And the winner is John Ottman for The Usual Suspects.
Next to give out the award for Best Factual Television Sound, meaning their lips match the conversation, is David Rintoul. Apparently he's the new Dr. Finley. It's an all-new 90s version where week after week he reveals what's under his kilt for medical reasons. I can tell you a little about next week's show. Due to cutbacks, he has to use his bagpipes for an emergency enema. That's true. David Rintoul.
And the winners are Howie Nicol, Regina Gang, Andy Matthews, Danny Longhurst for the Beatles Anthology.
Let's go back and get him, eh? I'm game. Yeah, let's smash him. Let's find that temple, eh? Right, to the temple. A man's got to do what he's got to do. I don't reckon all this running away. Let's go back, 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 back.
To present the Anthony Asquith Award for Film Music is Frances de la Tour, a woman who straddles from the serious to the sitcom. Such is her brilliance, she managed to convince them to go against type and land one of the leads in Three Tall Women. The oh-so-tall Frances de la Tour.
And the award goes to Louis Bacalov.
Present the Michael Balkan Award for Outstanding British Contribution to Cinema is the very lovely Timothy Spall. A man who proves you don't have to be a hunk to want to go to bed with him. Don't be jealous, Pater. The too gorgeous Timothy Spall.
These are really heavy, you know. They're quite. Anyway, I was going to prepare a speech, but anyway, I'll just improvise. But I think, you know, the thing is about why I'm so pleased, really pleased about being asked to present this award is because the man who's getting it really deserves it, which is one really good thing. The other really good thing is that I'm really chuffed as well because I think he's a mate of mine as well, which is really nice. And I actually think he's really one of our greatest filmmakers, and he's getting greater and greater. And I think we've got some clips of his work and some people who have worked with him talking about him. So should we have a look?
He dramatises the undramatisable. He makes the normal and the drab and the mundane. He raises it up to a standard of, you know, comedy and tragedy. One minute you're laughing, next minute you're crying, and sometimes within a split second. It's a bit like that working with them as well, actually.
I knew of his stage production of Bleak Moments because it had been at the Royal Court, and at that time, my production company, we had a kind of policy of trying each year to do a film for a young film director. And what intrigued me was the idea of a film based on an improvisation. I was very impressed by how much like Mike Leigh was, even when he hadn't done any films at all. He already had a sort of absolute deep conviction that this was what he wanted to do. This was the way he wanted to do things, and there was no other way.
Well, the whole process of working with Mike starts once you've bribed him to get on the film in the first place.
Or slept with him.
And so you present him with a list of characters, acquaintances. You don't have to know them very well. And at the end of a period of time, it could take a day, it could take a month, he'll decide which one you're going to base your character on, and that's just a starting point, really. It doesn't end up anything like them, because there are so many departures from that.
What you doing here? It's all right. What's happened?
Nothing's happened. Mandy's come to take you home.
Aye? Yeah. Oh.
It all starts with nothing at all, really. I mean, I believe he's never told me exactly what goes on in his head at the outset of a project, but I don't think there's much of a concept at all about what it's going to be.
You don't make the decisions about what the character does. It takes care of itself. Like Aubrey in The Life is Sweet. He thought he was charming, handsome, a marvellous cook, and a bit of a catch. I mean, and I was always playing that totally in the character. I mean, from the outside, objectively, he's a fat, useless cook, twerp who could never get a girlfriend, you know. Hi, Natalie.
It's Nicola.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Bought a pineapple.
It's a very, very fulfilling experience as an actor, because you do feel like you've created the character from scratch with Mike, and you feel, oh, this is something, this is a creation. I do actually think that Life is Sweet is a lovely film, and I think all the actors in it are wonderful, and just so great. Oh, they're gorgeous. I love you all. I'm sorry, it was just getting so naff then. Oh, it's lovely. My hair's falling out.
Yeah, well, stop pulling it then.
Still falls out.
It's really nice hair.
You take the piss.
No. I mean it. I'm sincere.
Bollocks.
Mike was inside Mark's head too, which was good. If I couldn't get a good angle on something, he would, you know, direct you like a director and say, you know, why doesn't Mark do this? And I'd go, yes.
Of course I've been down the pub.
Guess who was there? She really likes you. Ailey. You know the bird I mean, don't you? Quasimodo's daughter. You're well in now. She loves intelligent people.
Michael is very, very good at diffusing the old impulse to audition for the camera, to impress, to show off. He refines it, boils it down to something that is the only way that character could behave in that situation. Because if you show off too much, I think you should produce a yellow card, a warning card, and after 3 warnings and a red card, the equity card should be taken away from that actor. You know, it's atrocious. Cannot have it on the film.
I am dead worried about Julie. Do you think she'll be all right?
Well, see, you are worried about it, but I told in the car about all this. You are probably more worried than Julie about this. She's a tough girl, that one.
Often you don't see the acting in his films. People are so real in it, it's almost unbearable.
I think that he doesn't sort of go for somebody like Susan Sarandon in a Mike Leigh film, because he knows that it would be highly unlikely for somebody like Susan Sarandon to be living in Enfield or living in Cheadle Hulme. If he's going to have somebody playing a working class character, he invariably chooses somebody who is from a working class background, because they do know that world.
What would you rather have, boy or a girl?
Don't mind really. One of each. What would you rather have?
I'd rather have a rusty spike shoved up me arm.
You can look at Mike Leigh's things and say people aren't like that. Obviously, that's one criticism people come up with. All you got to do is go on holiday and look round the pool, and you find out people are like that.
Keith, no, you always tell me to chew everything 72 times. Well, I don't think that can be right, because, for instance, you're chewing nuts now, and they have to be chewed 72 times because they're very hard. But earlier on, I was eating mushroom, and I only got as far as 31, and it slipped down my throat quite naturally. So it doesn't always have to be 72 times, does it?
Compassion is the word for Mike. A compassionate eye on human behaviour.
An archetypal Mike Lee scene is just around the corner from you in your own home. That was good, wasn't it?
It was good.
And that's what Mike presents, people behind doors, you know, in their strange little worlds, relating in their strange ways to each other.
The important thing is to use your discretion.
I looked at Maverick in the dictionary only 2 days ago, and apparently it's a young little cow that's not been branded. So if Mike Lee's a maverick, it means there's a little cow that's not been branded. And you could say that.
Listen, does anybody mind if I scream here? Is that okay with you, Ox? I'd feel better, but it won't take long.
He's the best actor-director I've ever come across, or probably ever will come across. He understands how an actor works and creates a character better than anybody.
He's completely in his own orbit, in a way, which is rare in a lot of fields, but particularly in the cinema. And it may be that the latter half, when people look back on the latter half of this century, film-wise, that Mike's films will reveal more about how we may have lived rather than the kind of entertainment we provided.
I just think there's an out to queer as folk, and that's what he does.
And the winner of the Michael Balcony Award for Outstanding Contribution to Cinema is Mike Lee.
This is so overwhelming that I don't know whether I can really say anything, but I'll try. Yes, I'm the little cow. I didn't quite catch what it was, the little cow that runs around, the maverick, who people quite remarkably do give money to make a film with no script, and usually with, or nearly always, if not actually always, with absolutely no idea what they're going to get. Thank you.
And now for Bafta's Award for Lifetime Achievement, the Fellowship. It is the most distinguished of awards, which means if you've gotten an award tonight, this one's a bit bigger. Probably has 2 working eyes instead of just the one. And the head swivels. So here to present the award, who's come all the way through that channel, is Irene Jacob, star of Othello, 3 Colors Red, and others I cannot pronounce. Irene Jacob.
Good evening. The Fellowship Award is the highest accolade the British Academy can bestow. And this year, for only the 2nd time in the history of Bafta, the Academy has chosen to honor a woman. To quote Rimal, what makes her an exceptional actress is that she's an exceptional and passionate person. It's difficult to compare her with others. Nobody has, in front of a camera, this unique capacity of seemingly doing nothing, of being simply enormously present. Let's see her in action.
Vous n'avez pas vu Monsieur Tavernier ce soir?
Non, madame.
Il n'a pas téléphoné?
Non, madame.
l'amour peut naître d'un regard. Jeanne, en un instant, sentit mourir sa gêne et sa pudeur. Elle ne pouvait hésiter. On ne résiste pas au bonheur.
On s'est connu, on s'est reconnu, on s'est perdu de vue, on s'est perdu de vue, on s'est retrouvé, on s'est séparé, puis on s'est réchauffé. Chacun pour soi est reparti dans le tourbillon de la vie. Je l'ai revue un soir, ah là là, elle est retombée dans mes bras, elle est retombée dans mes bras.
Vous êtes deux idiots.
Moi, je n'ai rien dit et je n'approuve pas forcément ce que dit Jules à 2 heures du matin.
Alors protestez.
Je proteste.
E poi ti sei svegliata e sorridendo ancora nel sonno mi hai baciato e ho sentito che non dovevo temere niente, che noi saremo sempre come in quel momento, uniti da qualcosa che è più forte del tempo e dell'abitudine.
Di chi è questa lettera?
È tua.
On a chanté Genève et ses montagnes, on a chanté Vérone et ses amours, on a chanté les guitares d'Espagne. Oui, mais Paris l'emportera toujours. Minois, fripons, sous gambettes légères, Susan, Fanchon, Lisette, Zounini, femme du monde ou rose de barrière, et tout cela qui...
Ils partaient pour un long voyage dont ils connaissaient les incertitudes. Ils ne savaient pas s'ils retrouveraient le bonheur de leur première nuit. Déjà, à l'heure dangereuse du petit matin, Jeanne avait douté d'elle. Elle avait peur, mais elle ne regrettait rien.
For me, Jeanne Moreau has always shown courage in her approach to a character. She's not sparing to reveal all the light and dark side of a role, and as a result, she brings to the screen a very special and challenging quality that enriches each part she plays. Félicitations à toi.
I'm so very fortunate because I didn't have to go through all the waiting, you know, the agony and biting my inner fingers, and the winner was me. I knew it. I was told. There is something absolutely exceptional tonight because the first fellowship was given to Alfred Hitchcock in 1971. And since then, only one woman, 1973. And you girls in the film industry and television industry, don't forget the gates to the Bafta fellowships are opened. Good luck. And thank you.
Well, that's it for another year of BAFTA Craft Awards. And BAFTA thanks Lloyds Bank for supporting the event. And I'd also like to thank Lloyds Bank for allowing me that tiny little overdraft we were talking about in the lobby. If you didn't win, try to hold yourselves together till we go off the air. Then you can cry into your soufflés for all I care. And to the winners, hold on to those BAFTAs, because there's someone else coming up behind you. Come on, Peter and Kevin, walkies.
Other awards presented at the ceremony were for Best Original Television Music, Persuasion. Best Television Graphic Design, BBC Two Christmas Animations. Best Television Costume Design, Persuasion. Best Fictional Television Sound, Loved Up from Love Bites. Best Factual Television Editing, The Betrayed from True Stories. Best Fictional Television Editing, Go Now from Love Bites. Best Film Sound, Braveheart. And the Post Office BAFTA bursary was awarded to Julian Hill.